Hello, my name is Lee Fox, and this is my demonstration speech for public speaking class. So, for this speech, I took some time trying to figure out what task, what hobby, or what I would do a good job explaining that. And it came down to something we do on a daily basis on my dad's custom cattle feedlot. We basically live and breathe with this program, and if it wasn't for this program, my dad would not really be able to operate his farm as efficiently as we do. And so, give you a little history of what we used to do. We'd use pen and paper. We'd write down, we'd track everything we do on the farm, from the amount of feed we fed the cattle to their health records. I mean, just everything was on pen and paper. And then that took time because we had to input it into a computer, and then the algorithms would work its way out, and then it would tell us how much the cattle gained and what it cost, and it was not an easy task for someone like me to understand. So, 3-4 years ago, a company out of Osage, Iowa, went and created something called Performance Livestock Analytics. What this company does is they branched off and created a software program called Performance Beef. The Performance Beef is what we use on a daily basis. It tracks real-time data, allows us to see how our cattle are performing. It keeps track of all their inputs and outputs, whether it be feed, cattle, health, medicines. Anything and everything to do with the cattle is tracked off of this app and website. And so, what I'm demonstrating is Performance Beef. Right now I'm going to do it on an iPhone. You are able to do this on iPads as well. And they soon talked about some Samsung phones maybe in the future. But as of now, it's only on iPhones and iPads. And so let's get started. So first thing we do is we come up here and we click on the app called Performance Beef. And so, what we do at Performance Beef is, this is a daily thing. We go into this program every morning, every night, before and after we feed cattle, and this is where our data is tracked. So when you first open it up, it comes with a scale app, which I'll go through a little bit more towards the end of this video. First thing we do, we click Web View. This takes us to an overall page that you can access on your iPhone, iPad, or any type of laptop, and is basically the main site for all the data. It's kind of the brains of the whole system, and it's where everything functions. So the first step we do in the morning before we go to feed cattle is we come to this web view, and as you can see on the side here, we got our bunk scores, which is how much feed's left in the bunk. Drop 1, which is our AM drops in the morning. Drop 2, which is our PM drops, we'll drop at night. And then some other data that'll go in, factor in to how much feed we actually give them cattle. So for bunk score, as you can see, hopefully, we'll come over here, we'll click this little drop down menu. And it gives us multiple options: clean, crumbles, and then some numbers which are referenced to pounds. How much feed is left in the bunk? And so by this, we'll judge how much feed we actually drop for them cattle. Whether the more feed left in the bunk, the less feed we drop off that feeding, because we got too far ahead of them and they're leaving feed, and they should not be. They should be cleaning the bunks up good. And so once we do that, we have that selected. We come down, I don't know, as you can see here, drop 1, 2,400 pounds is what our drop 1 is on R3. The R3 represents ration 3. So we have different rations. We have a 6-step ration level, so there's ration 1 to ration 6. When new cattle come, they start on ration 1, which is a high forage, hay and corn silage diet, which basically grows their stomach, and that's what they start out on. And before they leave, they end up on a ration 6, which is a higher energy, more corn, more distiller's grain, and less silage and forage in there to help them get more energy and gain more weight. So, after we inputted our drop 1 amount that we want to drop in the bunk, we'll come back up to the scale app. And by going to the scale app, you can see all of our loads with the pen names, the target weight, and how much was fed. So my father's obviously done chores this morning already, so we're able to see what the target was and how much he actually dropped off for the feed itself and each ingredient. So for example, we're going to scroll all the way to load 6 here, which has 4 pens on it. And so right here, you click on load 6, gives you a little bit of an overview of what the pen is getting fed. And our next step is we click load. So what load does, this is where the tracking starts to happen, and where the feeding actually starts, so to say. So what we got to do, first step is we come up here, we have to select scale. So by selecting a scale, it allows us to hook up with our feed truck scale, which has Bluetooth capability, and then it allows us to accurately see how much feed is in the feed truck at the time being. So unfortunately, we don't have a feed truck near me. I'm unable to hook up, so we'll pretend we select one here, and we'll continue on feeding. Next step is, as you see right down here, R3, our ration 3, 9,800 pounds is a total target for these 4 pens. And then that little white box is where the actual weight of the scale would be. And then we scroll through and we'll select our different feed amounts. So we got mixed hay, we got screenings, DDGs, high moisture corn, and silage. And so as you start to dump this feed into the feed truck, it'll count down for you. You'll see it started at 3,280 pounds. It'll count down all the way to 0. Once it gets to 10% of the overall weight, it starts flashing yellow. Where it's green right now, it'll turn yellow. When it hits 0, or you start putting too much in, it'll flash red at you, which means you messed up and something needs to be done. So once we got our feed loaded, we'll come up here, we hit confirm. That's saving our load up to the cloud so we can access that from a different iPhone, different iPad, even see it on our laptops. And then once it's loaded, we'll hit delivery, but unfortunately, we don't have any feed loaded. So we have to go back, and we'll come to a load this morning that my father already fed off, just an example. So we hit delivery, and it's pretty much similar to the load. We got to come, we have to select a scale. Unfortunately, we can't. Here's our target. Our target for the East Dirt House. Our target was 2,500 pounds. He went over 100 pounds. So that means tonight we'll have to cut back their feed a bit. As we scroll through here, we can see, he was a little short in that pen. A little bit over on that one. And this one, he was a little short again. So that tells us we need to adjust our feed amounts for tonight and kind of back them off or give them a little more feed depending on what happened today. So once the feeds drop, we come back up, we hit confirm, and other than that, that's kind of it. That's how, and then once we hit confirm, all of the data gets saved to the cloud. We can access it from anywhere, and we can bill the cattle owner from anywhere in the world, and then we can receive our payment for doing their chores. So through this demonstration, understand it could be a little, I got long on my time here, I apologize. But there's a lot to tell there, and it might have been a little confusing, I apologize. But this is a program that has revolutionized the feeding industry in my area, especially for custom cattle operators. Because they're able to track their data in real time, see what the cattle are getting fed, how much it costs for them to grow the calf from start to finish weight, and ultimately just an easier stress reliever, makes the management easier for us to do, and better inputs technology in today's world for the cattle industry. Hope you enjoyed this demonstration.